tell you, one, I will not lose.
Why?
Because the election is now between the people and the government. And I believe that people have suffered enough.
So Peter Obi is confident that he can win Nigeria's 2027 presidential election.
But the businessman and former Anambra state governor has said that he may not even live to contest it.
So how does a man who says his own safety cannot be guaranteed persuade millions of Nigerians that he can protect them and secure Africa's most populous nation?
There's no clarification. The clarification is very simple, and I say it every day. How else can you explain that two governors, about three of them, have said to me, don't come to our state, you're not safe.
But in Nigeria today, the challenge is not simply winning an election. It is also about winning public trust.
Exactly. And in Peter Obi's case, trust is particularly crucial since he has been in bed with at least two political parties before settling with the current National Democratic Congress within just a few years.
Changing parties have nothing to do with the person's competence, the capacity, compassion or commitment, because this is like a vehicle. If the vehicle you've entered cannot get you to a destination, you change your vehicle.
Okay, so can Nigerians trust that Peter Obi represent the new kind of politics he promises, or is he offering them another collection of campaign promises?
And more importantly, can he transform popular frustration over economic hardship, insecurity, and declining confidence in public institutions into a credible program for our government?
Peter Obi and the battle for Nigeria's presidency.
That is our conversation today, right here under the Baobab. Hi, George. Good morning.
Hi, Mimi.
Hi. Hello. So,
I like it when you say that.
How's your drink tasting today?
It
I
is
feel
something,
like it's kind of punchy.
Yeah, when I tested before we started the show, it's something I call ogogoro.
What's that?
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay, I can't wait. But usually under the Baobab, when we say tastes, how does it taste? It's the feeling.
Yeah, it's the feeling, actually. It's a very special under the Baobab drink. Mm-hmm. And the mystery around it depends with the mood of the show.
Yes, and we only share that with our under the Baobab tribe, you know. And today we'll be visiting our tribe in Nigeria. And before we introduce our guests, we want to also hear from you because your voice matters as far as Under the Baobab is concerned. You had a lot to say from our previous conversation with Shirley Ayo Bochwe, and she is the 7th Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations and first African lady to occupy that position.
A very critical and, firm institution that should be, very relevant within the scope of democracy and how Africa and good governance, how African, rather members who are members of the Commonwealth, behave,
right.
I should say. Let me go quickly to Gideon G, who says, I'm an English-speaking Cameroonian. Does this community of nations really exist? That is the question he's posing.
Yes, because of had the former Commonwealth Secretary General come to Cameroon and nothing really happened with regards to what's happening in the country. And we have Faizo Wanzira saying that it's a useless body / organization meant to milk former British colonies of their wealth in disguise of binding them together for a common good. That's an interesting one.
So raw, but respected.
It's always a pleasure to hear from you all here under the Baobab. That's how we do it. My name is Mimi Mefoneu.
And Mimi Mefoneu is with me, George Okachi. On this show, we take Africa's biggest, heaviest issues and make them personal.
And we do so every Friday of the week. We demand accountability from experts, shaping the continent. We talk to leaders, policymakers, politicians, opposition party members, and your voice sits at the very center of this table. Please don't forget to, as always,
they should subscribe, and remember it is DW Africa, as Mimi has mentioned, on our YouTube page. So today we are heading to Nigeria, and we are speaking to someone that many people know across the continent, and that is Peter Obi, one of the country's leading opposition figures. He remains especially popular among young Nigerians demanding political and economic change.
But Peter Obi finished third in Nigeria's 2023 presidential election behind Ahmed Bola Tinubu,
Yes.
and also our Atiku Abubakar, because Tinubu was first and Atiku was second.
Yes.
His obedient movement has continued to promote his promise of a new Nigeria, under his own leadership.
Yeah, and I quite remember vividly, Mimi, we covered that election in 2023, that should be in February, I remember. And the argument was if the opposition was united then, because Tinubu emerged victorious with about 8 million votes, followed by Atiku Abubakar with 6 point something, and also Peter Obi secured 6 million. So the two together would have made, 12 million. But today, Peter Obi is again going to face Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yeah.
And I think you're talking about opposition coalition that is failing, right?
Yes.
And just last year, the different opposition party leaders came together, including Peter Obi himself, Atiku Abubakar, coming to create a huge opposition coalition that could go head-to-head with Tinubu.
The incumbent,
Tinubu, and then eventually win the election. But it collapsed eventually.
Yeah, it collapsed, and that has, kept Nigerians talking. And in the political cycles, there have been argument of, a fractured opposition. And the opposition on its side claiming that this, the growing, disagreement within the opposition parties is being, instigated by the government.
Let's look at the All Progressive Congress, for instance,
Yes.
the party of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The party came to pass since, 2015 presidential election, after we saw the late President Buhari coming to power. And that party has remained very strong in Nigeria now. When I say strong, I mean, I'm not just talking about the presidential election. I'm talking about local elections.
Yes.
Even they are occupying all the seats in local elections, also even at the level of, the parliament and so on. So they are so powerful that many Nigerians were thinking that only a united opposition could be able to turn things, against the All Progressive Party in Nigeria, but that has not been the case.
Yeah, but just to mention, when Peter Obi walked away, they walked away with Rabiu Kwankwaso, and Rabiu Kwankwaso is going to be his running mate. And politics is about numbers and coalitions that can, ensure a winning formula. And believedly, Peter Obi and Kwankwaso are, claiming that, of course, if the ticket remains the same, then it is a sure bet that they're going to win against President Tinubu.
But between now and when the election takes place, things could change.
Definitely.
If all the opposition leaders who promised to come together couldn't succeed, will these two individuals succeed to, bring Nigerians together under them and ask them to vote? And will Nigerians actually get to trust them? That's the question that our colleague from the Hausa department, Musa Tijani,
Yes.
was asking Peter Obi, just trying to understand why, first of all, he left the coalition and whether he can be able to fight this battle on his own. Let's hear what he told him.
Mr. Obi, critics say you have become like other Nigerian politicians by changing parties, forming alliances, and promising change. What concrete evidence showed that you are genuinely different, represent a new kind of politics?
Well, in terms of changing parties, all of us have changed several parties. And the reason why we're changing parties is because we've not had people who are leadership that's committed in saying, this cannot happen, this cannot happen. So you have somebody in government who spends all the energy and time trying to disrupt other systems. I have no reason to leave, say, PDP, but because there's a disruption there, and I left. I have no reason to leave Labour Party, but because the people in power does not want me to remain in Labour. And when I went to ADC, I met similar situation, and I'm even battling similar situation, even where I am now. Changing parties have nothing to do with the person's competence, capacity, the compassion or commitment, because this is like a vehicle. If the vehicle you've entered cannot get you to a destination, you change the vehicle. My commitment to serve Nigeria remains that I know what is required to turn around the country.
After advocating for united opposition, so why did you leave the ADC coalition to accept the NDC presidential ticket? And how do you respond to claims that personal ambition took priority over opposition's unity?
Well, it is not. Everybody can see what is happening in ADC today. It's embroiled in endless litigation. And not only that, those who are accusing me of being ambitious are actually the ambitious people. Are coming together should be a commitment to build a new Nigeria.
But what caused the disagreement within the coalition?
There was no disagreement.
Were they based on differences in principles or dispute over the choice of presidential candidates?
No, there was no dispute. Never. I can tell you there was no dispute at all.
Between you and Atiku?
No, never. They will never have a dispute between both of us. It is, like I said, it's my respected leader and the other brother, and I will remain respectful to him. You will never see me in any place where he is disrespected or have issues with him. Never. It will never happen. What happened is that the party is employed in endless litigation, endless disagreements. Who stays where there's a problem? You move on with your life. Because this is something happening from outside, and that's it.
But it is happening too in the NDC, the court case.
But when I went there, it wasn't happening. It was when we came there, it started again. And it's starting because the same people who are causing problems everywhere.
Who are the people?
Where do you know them? Nigerians know them. It's coming from only when the president of a country said he's happy when other parties are in trouble. He said it. It's not that anybody said that he's happy. Who can be happy when the country is leading is in trouble?
Judge, I think I needed my own cup as well because you, Tijani, and the guests.
We all have a cup. I'm just imagining which type females don't. But I will get you
Next
something.
Time,
don't worry, I'll get you something definitely.
When I'm listening to Peter Obi, I'm
Yes.
thinking about two scenarios
Yes.
here. This is someone who is with opposition, is trying to form an opposition coalition, says that it fails because of internal wrangling in the said political parties.
State-sponsored internal wrangling.
Internal wranglings.
Yes.
So I see a man who is so disciplined that he feels like if the party cannot put itself in order, he cannot be part of that political party. That's on one side. On the other hand, George, before you come in, on the other hand, I also see someone who is having a defeatist tendency, right? So he sees a problem and he runs away. This is someone who wants to be a leader in Nigeria and runs away from a party because he has already identified the problem that is coming from the state.
But he says,
so why can't he sit and solve the problem?
But he says, who stays where there is a problem?
Why can't you stay and solve the problem if you want to be a leader?
But if he insists that, of course, the problems are not caused by, say, internal party structures or issues of principle, but rather state-sponsored, what do you expect him to do?
He clearly has a lot of respect for Atiku Abubakar. Peter Obi has a lot
respect for
of
all
respect
the
for him,
leaders
for all the leaders.
Yes.
So there are issues within the party that are making him go away. So why can't he solve them?
Who stays where there is a problem? That is the question.
That shows a little bit of incompetence. And if you say you want to rule me and my brothers and sisters or our country, and you cannot solve a problem within a party,
you should endure the problem.
Then you
that is
cannot solve the problem of the country. That's just my take, George. But I looked at it from both sides, right? I'm being fair here.
Okay, let's proceed now.
So it's time to, look at things from a very personal perspective. We get to know our guest when he's not talking politics, That is the rapid fire question segment under the Baobab.
Mr. Peter Obi, what is your favorite breakfast?
Oh, what?
What is your most underrated Nigerian dish?
Well, I eat, if it's on our side, I eat onubu. It is bitter leaf because I believe it's very healthy.
What special name do you call your wife?
Interest.
Lolo.
Interest. No. The only one. Because I always say there's one wife. I have one wife. In my house, I have one wife, one girl, and one boy. So I call them the only girl, the only boy, the only wife.
What do you like to do during your leisure time?
Reading and thinking.
How will you like to be remembered?
Well, as somebody who tried to contribute in building a better society, a better place for other people.
That's great.
He wants to be remembered as someone who tried to build a society where everybody is comfortable. And of course, you're comfortable if you run away from problems. You should note that. But Mimi, politicians naturally enter, political race with a sole belief that they can win. But Peter Obi appears completely certain about the outcome of the 2027 presidential election. He has never been that sure. That is what he told Musa Tijani. But one thing I think our viewers and listeners should appreciate that in Nigeria, there is no a strict, constitutional threshold that a presidential candidate must secure 50% of votes, like, in other countries like Kenya or even in Uganda. But of course, with the 36 states, you should at least secure about 25%. Within, about 24 of the states, right?
But we know that with regards to the Nigerian election, it's not just about the candidates. It's also about how much the people trust, the electoral process and how transparent the electoral process is. And Peter Obi actually said something very important. I want to read it because I want to quote him.
Yes.
He said that the contest in 2027 is going to be between the people and the government.
The government, yes.
Which means that if the people decide to vote for Tinubu and not him, so the people have decided to go against themselves, right?
Definitely, that is what he meant. And there is that awakening call that people must vote, but also protect their votes and have a say in how, the entire results will be reflected.
Right.
Yes.
And talking about results, would he accept that he loses?
That is always the important
question. If he doesn't
question.
win the election, is he going to accept that? That's the question that Tijani put to Peter Obi directly. And this is how he responded.
Obi, if you lose after exhausting all legal avenues, will you accept the outcome and encourage your supporters to do the same?
Let me tell you, one, I will not lose.
Why?
Because the election is now between the people and the government. And I believe that people have suffered enough. So it's not me that will tell the people what to do. Because it's the people that will lose against the government. So whatever they will do, I don't know. Because I'm not controlling them. Even if they have to go to court, it will be called the people suing the government. So this election is between the people and the government. I'm only being used as a tool to stand for the people. If I win, we'll follow the rule of law. One of the things I must bring back and ensure happens in Nigeria is the rule of law. We must have law and order. I will never do anything knowing the wrong in office because it will benefit me. I will not go after my opponents. I will make sure we have strong opposition, strong parties that can stand and say no. And in times of problem, I will invite them. If I was president, for example, and what is happening in the north today is happening, I will invite all opposition parties and we'll go and sit down with stakeholders in the north and discuss it and come to a solution to it.
That's mean you will use the opposition as an opportunity in moving the countries forward when elected as
Very
president.
critical, very important. I will seek their ideas, very important. I'll work with them and people will see it. I did it before. As governor, I was working with the opposition. I was a governor with 30 members of House of Assembly from a different party, not one from my party. Nigeria will function under me because I will tackle issues head on.
So beyond the campaign promises, Nigeria functioning under him, and the political arguments, what do ordinary Nigerians think about Peter Obi, and do they believe he can win in the 2027 elections?
To answer that question, we sent two of our colleagues to the streets. They are Chinaza Samuel and Abiodun Jamiun to find out.
I'm a big supporter of Peter Obi. I've listened to his conference, follow several of his media, and I believe I've listened to his plans, a lot of plans he has for Nigerian, and I believe those plans is something we can actually give him the opportunity to actually bring it to pass. The first thing I believe he needs to actually tackle is insecurity.
I think he has what it takes to win the election, but due to the political stability of this country, I'm not sure if he will be given that opportunity. You get, if he can be able to fix the corruption practices in Nigeria, I think that should be the major focus, because the rate of corruption in Nigeria now is very, very high. In public spaces, in institutions, even in schools. Like, students barely gain admission into schools now easily than before. Like, now they will tell you a lot of bribery and corruption everywhere. So the situation of this corruption is like, if he can be able to fix this corruption issue, I think that's the major challenges as it stands now.
I think the first thing he should address is how to make the economy grow better. Development in summary. What I mean by development and growth is that Nigeria has been for the past years, we have been in a level of undergrowth. The country is actually filled with a lot of resources to make us grow, but it has not been utilized. So I think him coming in, he should utilize these resources so this country will grow better.
So that's very clear and demonstrated from the voices we've heard from Nigeria. Is that whoever comes in after 2027 elections inherits, a multiple crisis that they should, prioritize,
including insecurity. And when we are talking about insecurity, it's affecting north, east, south, west. I mean, generally across the national territory, people feel unsafe. We have Boko Haram, we have ISWAP insurgency in the northeast. We also have banditry, mass kidnappings across, many parts of Nigeria, and also the separatist violence in the southeast. These are some of the issues that are awaiting the person who takes over. And Peter Obi says that he can provide solutions.
But you see, he's saying that he can provide solutions, and at the same time, he's saying his life is in danger. So how can someone who fears for his own, his own safety, assure you of your own, protection and safety?
Maybe mental security for Nigerians, that even if I'm unsafe, I can secure you with my words. What do you think?
Let's hear what he told Tijani.
Recently, you granted an interview with a podcaster where you made a profound statement that you might not be alive to witness the 2027 elections. We need more clarification regarding that powerful statement.
There's no clarification. The clarification is very simple, and I say it every day. How else can you explain that two governors have said to me, don't come to our state, you're not safe? And nobody has said anything. If I was president of Nigeria, and a state governor says to somebody, don't come to my state because I cannot guarantee your safety, that person will go to that state that day and I'll guarantee his safety. Because that's an irresponsible statement. It will not happen. If I was a governor and a Nigerian is threatened in a state and I visit that state and there was a shootout, I will call immediately the person to apologize, warn the governor. That is not country we want to build. But nobody have called me. Nobody have even asked me what is wrong. People can see it, what I'm saying, and they're still asking me for clarification. It's all over the place, then on the air.
Then what evidence supports your claims that the government is responsible?
I just told you.
What will be your first priority for improving security in northern Nigeria as the epicenter of insecurity?
We will deal with it decisively. We're not going to. Nigeria is the country. We must secure Nigeria. We will do whatever it takes as a sovereign country to secure our country, ensuring that our security agencies are well manned, well equipped, supported morally, and at the same time, ensure that we start tackling the structural problems that brought about this, which have helped us to create mass poverty, where the young ones did not go to school, there's no health, and nobody's trying to pull them out of poverty.
So did he report the threats? He didn't. Imagine saying that to your followers without telling them what you've done so far to prevent the attacks, you know. Mm-hmm. It's quite concerning.
Yeah. But also one thing that he has mentioned is about, his strategy of solving, insecurity. But at the same time, he keeps on insisting that he wants to do this within a single term. He has declared that he's just running for 2027 election. Once given the mandate, he is going to serve for a single term.
Are we sure? And what makes delivery even more important, because he says that he'll be able to do a lot in the first 100 days. But how will he be able to measure his successes in just those 4 years? Is it achievable to solve the security challenges, tackle the economic problems plaguing Nigeria at the moment?
And there is also the sentiments, that are, cropping in some parts of Nigeria, people wanting to secede. So I wonder how he wants to solve all this. So let's listen to what he told Musa Tijani.
The first thing I will do as president of Nigeria is to unite the country, to have peace. Because today we are not united. We need the unity. It is that unity that will help us to fight insecurity. It's that unity that will help us to focus on critical areas of development. So if anybody is agitated, we want to dialogue with the person. I don't want agitation. Secession is capital no. You don't even discuss it. But if you agitate, I want to know why you agitate. Before we said, okay, you don't want to be part of us. Because when we bring inclusiveness, bring justice and fairness, you reduce all that so you can focus, because Nigeria needs to focus on critical areas of development.
Okay, Mr. Obi, what message would you like to share with the northern voters about your vision, leadership, and commitment toward addressing their concern?
If I have opportunity of serving Nigeria today, one place that I'll focus is the North. I focus on it for a number of reasons. The greatest assets we have today as a country is the uncultivated land that is in the North.
In most of your interview or your previous interviews, you once say that you are going to just serve one term. Is it realistic?
Yeah, I'll serve one term. Precisely. Not a day longer than that. You're not going to change everything overnight. People don't want to see 100% result. They want to see 100% effort. And that I'll give. And it's very easy to do.
You cannot change everything overnight, but the people need 100% effort.
Yeah, effort.
You
not
know,
100% change, yeah.
So
but anyway...
Bobia came to power and probably wanted to serve a
single term, only to notice that they need more, maybe.
And he's now 93. The problems are always a lot to handle.
Okay, enough said. As we've heard today, Peter Obi is offering, as he's been offering Nigerians, a promise of political change. But beyond the slogans, the movements and the campaign confidence, the real question is whether he has the credibility and the concrete plan to deliver. Now, the opposition must do more than criticize the government. It must present clear alternatives, measurable targets, and realistic timelines. And this is not what we are saying. This is what experts are saying.
And citizens also have a responsibility. That is, democracy is not only about supporting a popular candidate or voting on election day. It's about demanding evidence, questioning promises, and holding every leader accountable, whether they are in government or not. And that's also what we do here under the Baobab.
So we want to hear from you. What is the one concrete result Peter Obi would need to deliver to convince you and that he can lead Nigeria?
Share your thoughts in the comments. We'll be happy to read them. And for more honest conversations about African politics, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, DW Africa. And you can also listen to our audio episodes on
Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next time, They call me George Okachi.
And they also call me Mimi Mefoneo. Bye.